fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 181 of Talking Tottenham. I am Bucky. I'm joined, as always, by my esteemed colleague, Daniel Shakes. Daniel, I saw you had a tennis ball. Is that a stress reliever that you got there in the right hand?
Constantly need it now, Bucks. All thanks to Spurs.
Well,
and
it's
Nuno's
up, down,
leadership.
Topsy-turvy. How are you feeling, though, overall? I know you got a lot going on in your personal life as well. Let's talk personal first, and then we'll get into the despair that Spurs drive us into.
What's it even matter, Bucks? I'm so down in the dumps. However, you're right. We are moving into one of our beach houses this weekend. Super fired up about it, and I cannot wait to invite you in maybe a couple years.
Yeah, I think you need at least the shine to wear off before I come in there and obliterate it.
How would you obliterate my place?
The porcelain, mostly.
It is next to a bunch of fun beach bars. So, yeah, you could have that early morning urge to attack the porcelain. Hopefully that's not the case, though. And you just enjoy your time, and you're just an excellent guest. And I think that's how you talk a big game, but really you're super cordial and also very polite. So
thank you. There are two sides to me, Shakes. Yeah. The duality of man. When I'm around you, I temper it a bit, but I mean, it's because you and I at this stage in our lives, we kind of move at the same pace. You probably a bit slower than me, but I can turn it on when I'm with the gang, right? When we are going, like we went to Philadelphia a couple weeks back, when it's time to step it up and just put the pedal to the metal, I can do it. But I'm also, once we get back to wherever we're staying, usually like an Airbnb, this one we stayed in like a 7-story mansion row house type of thing. That was, I mean, hell on my knees, but it was a lot of fun. But I would be the disciplinarian at night, right? Like, hey, keep it down. There are neighbors. Let's be polite, even though I'm hammered. Now, at your place, I'm just saying we're probably going to be eating really well, probably a lot better than what I normally eat, my daily quota. So I figure I might need to at least prep it with some poopery or something.
A lot of fresh caught fish, Bucks. Now, we're excited to have you. Actually, Mrs. Shakes, who you love, of course, and that's why you're going to be polite. We have this playroom, but it's got this sofa that's got a twin bed that folds out. So she calls it the Bucks room. She's like, I'm so excited for Bucks to stay in this little playroom that folds out to a single mattress.
Now, here's the sad thing. There will be one night when you stumble down for a late glass of water or whatever it is, like 3 a.m., and I'm just sitting there watching Bluey on the television and playing with all the toys. And that's when you'll know, yep, this really was Buck's room.
Got the Coco Melon going, Disney Plus.
I'm a Bluey guy, fella. Listen, I have a niece, Zari, and we spend a lot of time together, so I'm familiar with Bluey at this stage. Bluey is a spectacular film. Well, it's a show, but I like to think of it as just one 400-part film.
It's a cinematic achievement nonetheless.
Absolutely is. Have you
No, we're not there yet.
The young ones
yet.
Okay.
We're still Disney Plus, so I'm ready. I've heard of Bluey, but honestly, Bucks, it's not like you hear about it and you want to research it. You see enough kid shit. You're not ready to take a look at all the other stuff out there yet either.
Whatever you do, stay away from Caillou.
Don't know what that one is, actually.
Okay, Caillou's more, it's for 4 to 5-year-olds. So you're coming up on a Caillou stage. You're coming up on it, though.
We'll see.
I want you to stay vigilant. I want you to have your head on a swivel. All right. That's great that you're moving into your beach house, by the way. Congratulations.
One of my beach houses. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But
okay,
this is the most northernmost beach house.
It really is. Get some change of season up there, Bucks.
Yeah. Definitely an hour north of where you're at currently. All right, let's hop into it. 1-0 loss, West Ham. I think my big takeaway was lack of effort from Kane throughout the match. And I'm starting there because I think this is the most pressing point. The lack of effort, not only on attack, but on that corner kick, just not even putting in a limp of effort against Mikel Antonio, who has proven to be a threat in the box all season long. Just zero effort there. And we concede a goal that, quite frankly, they had earned by that juncture. But god damn, just do something, Kane. Figure something out. Make them kick it from the spot if you have to. But to just concede it in that way, you saw it leading up to it throughout the match. Just lack of urgency, lack of tenacity. I'm not impressed with what I've seen from Kane now through 7 league matches.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been great. I had Kane's effort and just all around play as my second most disappointing thing. Number one for me,
that's where I want to start.
We'll talk there, but just so you know, number one for me was lack of ideas from the manager.
Agreed there.
To tackle Kane, at first I was furious with the corner kick. But then I thought to myself, he does defend corners extremely well. He really goes for them. He tries to get up there aerially, like to the point where like we're going to have Kane on the striker or some other aerial threat from the opposing team. So
he's usually front post where he was again.
Yeah, he's trusted to do this. So I'm hoping to give benefit of the doubt that Lucas jumps up. Maybe there's a screen because there was another person between Lucas and Kane. I cannot remember who it was for Spurs. But maybe it was just one of those moments where it just kind of fell right into Antonio's lap. And it was just like the ball had eyes. It was like a seeing eye free kick or corner kick. And once it fell right there, Antonio made no mistake. So although I was furious with Kane in the moment, I kind of warmed up after. And then I realized I was really more mad at Kane for just the play leading up to it and after it. I felt like he was lethargic. He was leggy, whatever you want to call it, heavy legged. It just seems like he just wasn't winning any balls, like wherever it was a 50-50 challenge. Felt like when the ball got to his feet, he just struggled to get it out from underneath his feet before a challenge was made. When he had a chance to square the ball on 2 different occasions, he just didn't deliver the right pass. That bothered me more because when he didn't get a pass, he seemed all upset about it. But then at the same time, here he is not squaring up the pass at the same time. It just felt like such a lackluster effort. And here's the thing. It's like the Premier League is so good. Like the players are so good and it's so competitive. It's like if you're operating at 90%, it doesn't matter who you are. Like it's noticeable. It's noticeable to supporters, noticeable to the opponents playing you. And that's what I worry about with Kane. It's not like he's going for the motions and doesn't care. I'm not going to make it seem like that, Bucks. But if there's just that lit off a little bit, that means his edge is gone and he's just not the same player, that we had the years leading up to now. And I don't know why he doesn't just snap out of it.
He's always been a slow builder on seasons, so that could be factoring in yet again, right? I mean, for how long did he not score in August?
Yeah, but how much of it feels like 50-50? I don't want to say it's effort, but it just feels like he's just not winning that. I just felt like earlier in the year, or like seasons past earlier in the year, it just felt like he was kind of unlucky. Here, it just feels
a little bit unlucky. It just felt lackadaisical. Like he didn't bring his lunch pail on the day. And the confidence surely is something that will build if he starts scoring goals more consistently, at least. So it's not so much that worries me. I think it's that Antonio play, man. And the lack of urgency throughout. That Antonio play drove me nuts.
It did feel like the antithesis of it all, right? Like this was the exclamation point on his effort throughout this match.
Yeah, and I think that Kane still has something in the tank, like something big, something huge. But yeah, it's just a matter now of seeing it on the pitch. And I think you nailed it with the lack of edge. It's not so much he's tanking it or any of that.
Yeah, I don't want to
that's all hogwash. Yeah. I think that's all hogwash. But the lack of edge, that 10 to 15% that's off the top, it's noticeable with a player of his caliber. And I certainly noticed it on Sunday, and it bothered me. It bothered me throughout. I haven't slept right in 2 nights just because I keep on thinking back to that Antonio goal and the slow motion from the close-up angle. It's just killer to watch, man. There's no effort. Like you could say whatever you want about the ball trajectory and, a bad bounce there. You could say that. But at the same time, you're allowing that man in that position. And it wasn't like he had forced his way outside of that post. He was squarely within that post. So to give up that much room when Hugo has to play the header from that attempt, from that cross, I just feel like I needed more there. It didn't sit right with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's get to your thoughts on Nuno.
So tactically, Spurs set up like they had the previous 3 matches. starting 11 included. It just felt though like it got way too predictable quick. You have Ndombele trying to get in some space, trying to look forward. At first, they tried to play Sonny behind, the defense of West Ham, and actually, Son had a couple chances early on in the game. I mean, the first half, I would actually say, yeah, Spurs probably were the better team, but it was like a whatever 55-45% till it wasn't like you felt like they should have been leading. And it probably wouldn't have been unfair if they weren't if West Ham clipped a goal. They had a couple chances too. But it just felt like if you had to like pick a side, like you were forced to do it, you would have picked Spurs as probably the better team in the first half. In the second half, though, as they continue to be predictable, you saw Souček, you saw Rice, like just do a job on Ndombele. He's out of ideas to try to move the ball forward, and Spurs just got so stagnant. And then you look at the fact that like Brian Heel, Giovanni Lo Celso, and Bergwijn don't come in until at least the 85th minute. Yeah, I don't know what his situation is with substitutions, but he didn't do any 2 games ago. So last Prem match doesn't do him here until like basically the game's already done, and it's not like someone's going to come in and ignite it. I don't know if he just doesn't trust the players or what. It just feels though, Bucks, like I'm not trusting the Nuno sharp soccer mind to pull out a win for Spurs. I don't, and also on top of that, although he's not exactly like Mourinho, he's far closer to Mourinho than I care for him to be. So to watch Spurs lose back-to-back matches 1-0, one against Vitesse with their B squad, and still, I don't care if it's a B squad, it's ridden with international players. It just was disheartening. If you're a supporter, you're like, all right, this is more of the same. We're losing 1-0. Maybe Jose would lose 2-1 or let up a goal and it'd be 1-1. But still, it's like I'm seeing more of the same, kind of crummy, lethargic, very rigid soccer, and players aren't playing great, and then we end up losing 1-0. I mean, it's just such a bite to see how we lost too. I think maybe it's more that too, and that falls on Nuno.
Let's talk about swapping out a full A squad, B squad for the Vitesse match and then leading into West Ham. This is just an idea that could work if you're Man City. It could, and I'm not even confident that it could. It could work if you're Man U. But I'm not confident that works. And I think, Harry Winks nailed it in his post-game remarks. Like, it kind of feels like shit to be taken out, and there isn't a single other player that is started in the last 2 Prem matches that are out there with me. I don't look good, but my cohorts didn't look good either. So no matter what, it's inevitable if we're going to have that rotational aspect, which it seems like we're doing for the away matches in the papajohns.com. Like, it seems like it's just a full shift, and then don't worry, we'll make up for it here with our homestand against these clubs. Go ahead.
Do you think that, look, I'm all against Nuno right now. In fact, if I read tomorrow he was sacked, I don't know how upset about it I'd be, Bucks, but do you think that was radioed in by the brass? Do you think Levy basically said to him, you're not bringing anyone on this plane outside the B squad?
I think it's highly doubtful.
No?
No, because you'd think at least somebody would sneak in there and sit the bench for the whole match.
Then even more mad at Nuno. So he's playing a certain game, picking the team a certain way, losing 1-0 both times, one to like a super inferior team and the other one to our rival in a derby. Like, then yeah, get rid of him. I'm done.
Yeah, the whole London derby thing. 0-4.
Yeah, 0-4. Hey, Nuno, these games are somewhat important. Somewhat. It's just he's seen, I'm sure, look, completely nice guy, seems very thoughtful. Like, I gotta do that whole thing, right? Like, he's a good person. But I mean, I'm just not confident, and I don't think Spurs were ever confident even in the hire. You saw it being that he was the 15th choice, and that it was a 2-year contract basically for Spurs to get out. It's just a bummer, man. Like, and I think where I also get a little bit more frustrated, I'm sure a lot of supporters feel this way, is You got Levy out there saying we're going back to our DNA and it's going to be free flowing football, all that stuff. And then he picks a guy that everyone's like, that's not the way this guy manages. This guy's super pragmatic. He's here trying to win 1-0. Otherwise, we're going to lose 1-0. And that's what's happening. So, I mean, this isn't even like one of those self-fulfilling prophecy type things. This is just like what everyone thought it was going to be. It's not. It's just this is the result, everyone. Like this is how Spurs were going to lose this match.
Weren't the Levy remarks like while we didn't have a manager yet?
It's just so many questions. I know there's been.
And by the way,
yeah,
you started at 8th. He was our 8th choice. Now he's all the way at 15th.
I think
these mysteries 7 other candidates.
Who knows?
Ted Lasso's in there.
Yeah, Ted Lasso. I mean, I'm watching Ten Hag coach Ajax to a 5-0 win against PSV. I'm like, that would have been cool. Been sweet to have that. Oh well.
Gosh, yeah. I'm not. I just don't know how I feel right now about everything. Like if you were to ask me Nuno in, Nuno out, it's hard to say because. All right, if we just factor out the variables and the elements of 4 London Derby losses, and 2 of which were by disgraceful means, and then 2 we seem to have some fight to us. So I'm not all that down on that. All right, just wipe that away. Just say we played the same team, which we didn't, 9 times. We won 5, we lost 4. No draws. So at least we're not going out there thinking we're just going to get a 1-1 or a 2-2.
I suppose that's true. But wouldn't you rather lose 3-2 than 1-0?
Absolutely. I love a 3-2 loss because at least I felt something.
I mean,
at least I felt something. I felt some pure joy. And without that joy, it's really hard to get on the mic with you and sit here and try to spin Spurs into a positive or something to build on because you lose 1-0 in back-to-back matches, 2 matches that we should have won from my perspective. And there's just something that creeps into me in terms of we just feel flat, and we felt flat, and it's not like a death row scenario. I don't think I'm going to like sit here and lose sleep yet again tonight. But it does feel like apathy. And I don't know where that apathy lies. Does it lie with me as a supporter who's just getting numbed out by this style of football that we've seen now consecutively for almost 2 years? Is it me that saw Pochettino fail with the same players and thinking, okay, maybe it's not the style of football, it's the players that are playing the game? Or is it that everything is just apathetic right now? Like I'm numb. Is it me? Is it me, Shakes?
It could be. It could be. The problem is I think we let the hope creep in. I mean, Spurs had a semi-inspired performance against Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, Bucks. And then after that, they beat a very, very shitty Newcastle team. Should have been 3-1, but I think it was 3-2, right? And you think, all right, we're building off something. Here we go. Like we got the same
titled
lineup.
our podcast "Fun Football" for the Newcastle
Fun Football.
Match.
Little we know, yeah. Same thing gets out there, and there is a way you could look at the other lens, right? Like through the other lens, I should say, where West Ham might be a top 4 team. I think Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City are far clear-cut better than everybody else. Then after that, really, Man U sucks. I mean, you think we got manager problems. I mean, their manager problems are even more ridiculous. And the fact that they won't fire the guy, I mean, just benefits the entire Premier League and Champions League as a whole. But when you look at the table, I mean, Spurs are still, like you said, 2-4, sitting in 6th. You know, they're level with Brighton and Hove Albion. Would have been sweet to have that manager, by the way. I'll say that for the 19th time. West Ham's sitting there in 4th. And really, Spurs went to West Ham. And honestly, let's say that set piece doesn't happen. It wouldn't have been an unjust result if it just ended 0-0. I'm sure you and I would be looking at it like, all right, let's build off this. That was a tough road draw, all that stuff. But, you know, let's be real here. Spurs are -4 goal differential, and their wins are against teams that are in the bottom part of the table, aside from the Man City match, which it's almost like you got to throw that out. It feels like a different decade ago. The fact that Spurs like played this awesome counterattack ball without Harry Kane, and maybe it does take his full circle to Kane. I mean, if he's not gonna, get as involved as he should be in these matches, maybe I'm not saying you bench the guy, but maybe we just start playing through Son more. Maybe it's just that, just like Liverpool.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, just like they played through Salah more than they did Mane when they realized just he's better. Like maybe it's just that's what Spurs got to understand. Play a 4-4-2, put Sonny up more. I don't know.
Yeah. Here's a question here from Alex. What's the minimum offer you would take for Kane in January, Danny?
Like let's say Newcastle flirting with relegation. They offer Spurs 75 million. Do you take it?
Yes.
I think I would. Now,
I don't think Harry and Kate are going to love their time up there.
Yeah, he signed a contract and he was under it. Does the player have to agree to that transfer if he's that far under contract?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he's still under contract.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to accept where he's going to. But yeah, 75 mil at this point. I mean, what have we seen this season?
I'd take 75 all day.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
But here's the hope is it's January then, right? Like. It's like we have to ask that question in December. Like maybe he does go on a run, he gets better, drops 8 pounds like he should, and he's actually diving in for balls and all that stuff and winning aerial challenges. And
how about we just score like goals?
Yeah, or
score goals, like the more traditional route for a striker. Shakes.
No, that's a good point. The best part too is like he's struggling, and then we still got no backup. So just
we do though. It's Son. But then what do we do on the left flank? I want to see Brian Heel more involved, man. I want Heel more involved. He's not getting that development playing with that B squad that he would get if you just insert him on the left wing and see what he has. I don't think he is, Shakes. I don't.
I think he's so young, Buck. He's just got to take his time with it. And I think getting any meaningful game time, whether it's spot minutes in the Prem or whether it's starting in the papajohns.com Europa Conference League, built by Brentford Tools and presented by the Kia Sorrento.
Presented by the Kia Sorrento, built by Brentford Tools.
Sorry, I said that reverse.
Yeah, sponsors are going to get on you for that.
I think the better route is as an inverted winger, you just play Lo Celso. Lo Celso is better than like Lucas. He's better than Steve. And since we're not going to play, if we are going to play Ndombele, then and you're not going to have Lo Celso come in for Ndombele, just play them both. Play Lo Celso further up on the right side as a left-footed player. That's what I would do. And if you want, drop Kane. So then you have Son up top with Lo Celso, Lucas, and Ndombele.
We got a new addition in proud partnership with Jack Link's Beef Jerky. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, Gavin. That's a new name in here. Folks, if you don't follow us on YouTube, we are at Talking Tottenham Pod. We do record these live. What you hear on the podcast is exactly what we do during these live shows here. I like the addition of Jack. Yeah, I really like.
There's no fourth wall.
I really like the Jack Link's Beef Jerky partnership here. I think we're only getting the best brands under the sun to partner with the papajohns.com Europa Conference League.
Bucks, I went on a road trip for work. Got some teriyaki beef jerky. Hadn't had it in years. It was delicious. But have you ever gotten like the bag of beef jerky where it's just too dry?
Of course.
It's like you got to get it where somehow it's like that packet did its job and it's like moist, but not like gross moist. I feel like sometimes it's a mix for me. Like I don't get the right beef jerky. And it's like devastating. You're just sitting there.
Did you have
there's so much left?
Did you have somebody else in the car with you?
I did not.
Okay. I think beef jerky is a solo road trip snack.
For sure. I would never get it like next to my work partner or eat it in front of my wife. Gross her out.
Yeah. You keep the beef in the bag, Shakes, is what you do when you're with a lady in your presence. You could get away with it with the boys on a boys trip just because you won't be the only one stinking up the car with the BJ. And that's beef jerky.
Right.
Yeah. Stinking up the car there, Shakes. We got a couple more suggestions here on sponsorship. We got to find a way to squeeze in Safe Light Auto Glass. I gotta admit, it's a catchy jingle, Ian.
Look at Alex's post right below it.
Oh man. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. Good God. Donate your car today. I wonder what Nuno is driving right now, because he had to have sold the Range Rover, like knowing he's on his way out into obscurity.
Yeah. Lease only, hopefully. Do you think we even gave him a lease? You think Spurs?
Yeah, he got an Audi for the promo vid.
Just got an Audi. Like he's renting the IWC watch. They're like, you're gonna get that back.
Love this from Jerry. Just don't feel Buck. It's easier that way. It is. It's hard though. I mean, I don't know. I know that I've gone on this journey with everybody for well over 2 years now. Shoot, Shakes, we're pushing 3 years. So it's all out there. It's all been recorded and documented. You've heard me go up. You've heard me go down. It's funny though, because I was talking to my dad about Spurs earlier today, and he just said, "Yeah, but preseason, you kind of figured Spurs would be where they are." And it's that hope that crept in that you were talking about that made me think maybe we have something here. Maybe we're on the brink. And then it's funny because in that moment, you feel it and you kind of feel like maybe, oh, shoot, maybe we have something here. We're tenacious at the back. We're at least trying things on the front line. We're not really equalizing into goals here. But you look back now, 3-1-0 win, Shakes. I mean, it's not a lot to write home about, pal.
We're not beating the world here. No.
You're not beating the world. So I'm not displeased with where we are, because we are 6th in the table. There it is. Modelo Especial. We're 6th in the table, so there's a shot. It's just a matter of what happens against Manchester United, which team shows up, because good God, I really want next week you and I on the microphone again, but I'm just full on Spurs and we're nobody's stopping us. I don't feel like that's the case though. I don't see a world in which we show up and we try to take the game to them. Now, they are a bit more of an attack-minded team, and I think that opens us up more than what we saw against West Ham, who was, in my opinion, it was an impressive setup for them. They really had their tactics down to a T, and they were coming off a game on Thursday in the Europa League where they had to actually exhaust, I think, 7 of their normal starters. So they came in with no rest compared to us, but they tactically – they totally took Kane out of the game. They took Son out of the game for the most part until we started switching Son to the right-hand side. And then they just were making Ndombele go to the ground, it seemed like, every time he had the ball at his feet. So whatever they did tactically, it worked because they neutralized us. They knew the creativity was nowhere else on that club, and it wasn't. So, props to them. I'm not going to get down and out now. We're 5 wins. We have more wins than losses. No draws. I hate the draws. I know that points matter. I hate the draws. Give me wins or give me losses, because at least I knew you went for it. But it's different with a 1-0 loss. You didn't go for it. You didn't put your sack on the table. You didn't throw your chips into the middle. You just sat there and said, eventually, if we hold tight, we'll break through. We'll win 1-0. It worked the first 3 weeks. It ain't going to work from here on out. Teams have started to figure us out. If David Moyes and West Ham can neutralize our creative threats the way they did until we took some subtle tactical movements to adjust to it, good Lord, what happens with a super strong team in the Prem? It's not going to be pretty. But I think we need to start tempering our expectations here. I think finishing 6th would be an accomplishment based on what I've seen through 9 games.
Tough to say, Bucks, just because Man U's in shambles. I think Spurs are better than Everton. I think it better bear out that we're better than Brighton. And then it might just boil down to Spurs versus West Ham, if that's the case, because I don't believe in Arsenal making a run either. I mean, to talk more about the game, I mean, Souček pulls a yellow in the 21st minute, and I'm thinking, great, that might neutralize him in the midfield. Didn't happen.
Attack him
constantly. Like, it just felt like, and I don't want to keep making this about Nuno, but it's like I have far more confidence that Kane will come around and be the caliber player that he was versus Nuno just suddenly waking up and coming up with like the better tactics or knowing how to adapt himself into this in this role here as manager of a top 6 squad in the Premier League. But, just credit to West Ham. They were far more organized. You could tell what they wanted to do. They did sit back a little bit, but when they wanted to spring their counter, it was threatening. And it just felt like, I don't know, like if you were neutral, the game was boring as shit, I'm sure. And I think I texted you like, I think Spurs are the better team right now. And this was like in the 40th minute, like right before half. And I just said, but, we just got to be careful of like a defensive lapse or whatever it might be, because this is a game where you just might not score a goal. And sure enough, that's what happens. It happened with Harry Kane of all people. But I don't know, Bucks. I mean, let's look at some silver linings. Let's look at some positives. I thought Skip played a pretty good match. I thought he belonged out there. I would like to think he's just getting better and better at his age. I thought he links up with Højbjerg well. I think he links up with Romero more and better. And Romero going to him, when he was like running forward on like the brief occasions where he just said, fuck it, I'm doing it. And like went up there, I'm like, holy shit, he might be our best striker. Like, give him the ball. Like, let him attack it with his head.
He should have gotten his son on the left on that one, man.
When he was running up the middle, I'm like, just feed him. He'll finish. He'll figure it out.
I mean, he can fly. He's got some jets on him.
He does have some wheels. So yeah, we were making fun of his FIFA running, like saying it might not be that far behind Dyer. Completely apologize, QT. Like, you were far quicker than I thought.
But we just needed the visual evidence.
Yeah, but one of the listeners in the chat just asked if back three is the answer. If it opens up Romero, if you want to still put Højbjerg and you still want to put Skip up there, and maybe you're dropping a midfielder or a Lucas and putting in a center back, and that gives more freedom for Romero to just jet forward. I'm not saying that that's like the end all be all answer, because you might be able to figure out that gimmick after a few different times. But I mean, shit, I'm willing to try it out. We've talked back three for a little bit. If it gives Romero cover to run him forward, that's exotic, Bucks. It's fun to watch. I mean,
it's a Lamborghini.
I mean, if you watched the match and you were a neutral or just dropped in to check it out, I think you would probably not think Kane's your best player, right? That's number one. You'd probably think Son's really good, but you'd probably also think Romero was really good, like whenever he had like these rushes or joined in. So, I mean, there's got to be something there to build off of. I also thought Royale didn't play terrible. Reggie did not have a good game.
Royale Reggie was so sloppy around the box.
He was super sloppy. Like when he tried that little kick around and then like just turned into a turnover. That was right before the goal, but didn't cost Spurs. But maybe it actually led to the corner that then they did score on. I don't remember now, but yeah. Okay. Thanks, Reggie. Yeah, that was nuts. That he had the balls to do that. But maybe a back three would provide more cover for something like that too. But there's some players out there that give a shit and that we can build around. So there's that. And we just got to hold out hope that Kane snaps out of it and he gets out of this funk. I mean, really it benefits if Kane really wants to move and leave Spurs, then play better, Kane, so that someone actually wants to give us some money to then trade you. Otherwise, you're stuck here. You're just fucking stuck here.
Yeah, that's the axiom of dread that we're currently stuck in. And I think he's more stuck in it than we are.
Yeah, I mean, the contract we signed it's half over, and terms wise, it wasn't terrible, so we're fine.
What do you think about this idea from Ian? Bring in Son's dad. I feel he'd bring a Squid Game quality that we've been lacking. Now, Shakes, you've partaken in the Squid Game watch.
Yes, you talked about.
And I agree with Sonny's dad. I agree. We need more Sonny's dad.
Son's dad's like in Squid Games, if it really exists, right? Like he's just a member of.
No, far too responsible. He's never going to find himself in that precarious situation.
No. He's like the guy
running it.
Yeah. Yeah. No. He's not down his luck with some gambling guy, some henchman after him.
He already killed the gambling guy.
Were you surprised at the ratio of returns? It was like 93% of the people came back to the game once they realized how shitty their life was. Thought that was surprising.
Yeah, I think
I'd want no part of that.
I kind of feel like it's a good show for where the world is currently. Like, it just makes sense to me, right? Like I would say if I had just exhausted all of my various debts, I can't ever come good on them. And I have an opportunity to either take the short road home or the long road back to redemption. I might opt for partake. I'm also a pussy, like a giant pussy.
Huge.
So you get me in that Squid Game, I'll probably be the first to go.
Well, you'd read the contract and be like, hey, we all get to vote, right? So we can get the hell out of here. I think me and Mrs. Shakes are 4 episodes in just because it's so goddamn heavy and just something you can't watch right before bed because you're right. It just gives you nightmares. Like, I don't want to get into the nightmares I had about it. Just so unsettling and just anxious. We're like a week from the last episode. Are you done with it? Like, have you finished the whole season?
Yeah.
Oh man, does it get even more anxious?
It kind of lightens up after.
It lightens up, turns into a heartwarming story.
I just realized the error of my words there. It changes tones a little bit, but I mean, the grittiness and just the overall death that never really subsides. It's always coming right at you.
So another thing I thought of was, and maybe this is talked about in a future episode, like what's the amount of money that this, what's he called? The front man? I think that's what they call him in the subtitles.
The front man. Yeah.
So what's the kind of money that this guy or the people he works for, because I don't know where I'm at yet, like just really the whole story behind like how this all came to be. Okay.
You gotta watch it.
But like what kind of money is being used here to create like these whole setups? Like with all the cameras. And then
you'll find all that out. You'll find all that out. Yeah.
I'm excited to find that part out.
The show puts a pretty nice bow on the architecture of this.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny about that is like, and I haven't seen the new Bond yet. I'm supposed to go see it with my father-in-law. But like when it's like a supervillain in Bond, I never question like the financing of the project. It's like in GoldenEye, the satellite that could be seen from space was somehow built under, British intelligence and U.S. intelligence eye, and just no one thought to ask about it. But in Squid Games, I'm just like, where this is money coming from? Like, where's all this being financed?
They put a bow on it. You'll figure it all out. Yeah.
Better not be sloppy. That'll bother me.
I didn't find it sloppy aside from some of the acting done by the English speaking characters that enter the show shortly.
Oh. Golly.
Yeah. All right, let's change gears here. Good Squid Game talk there. Zach has been with us a long time listener. Been with you guys since Buck first shit his pants. Yeah. Well,
Chelsea.
There's been 3 since then, bud. There's been 3.
That's been documented
pants shitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's real. Like that is not fake. I'm not ashamed because guess what? We all poop our pants. Okay.
Yeah, you would make.
We got a few other good ones here. Jerry, if you had the choice, would you take Nuno or Ole? I'm taking Nuno, as sad as that sounds.
Yeah, no. The OGS, the old gunner, no thank you. Yeah. I cannot believe he's still got a job, Bucks. It's insanity. They lost 5-0 to their biggest rival. I mean, shit, we lost 3-0 to Chelsea at home.
We did. All right, here's a good one. What are the guys that have to be in the lineup every week, no matter what? I start with Romero. I then go to Son. I then go to Skip. I then go to. I want Tanganga back in there, by the way.
Yeah, but it's not a must start. It's not the question.
I want Tanguy in there.
And Domblet? No, me neither. I don't.
No, I do.
Oh, you do? Oh, no. Okay. No, disagree. The must start guys, it's. I mean, I don't even know if it's Skip, but I think it should be. So I guess it's my opinion. So yeah, Romero, Skip, Sonny. Like that's it. Like those are like the must play guys. That's it.
I would agree. If we were to rank 3, that's top 3 for me.
Højbjerg would be 4th for me. That's it. Like I mean, obviously Kane will get back in my good graces and he'll also be on that list. But right now, I'm so mad at him. Just
we're in a fight. Mad,
me and Harry in a fight.
He's in a fight with a lot of people right now. All right, we'll jump into the Twitter questions here after this.
Are we still drinking high noons?
No, we are not.
We are not.
Overpriced.
I'm on Modelo's now. Modelo's.
Yeah. That is a moderately priced foreign beer, an imported beer. Moderately priced.
Not bad. I like how it is lighter. I can't drink the heavy stuff, Buck, especially in the quantity that spurs demand that I drink. So
that's part of the issue here. Yeah. I'm back to domestic lights. That's how I roll.
I can't get too hoppy.
Just a cool four beer for recording type of session with Shakes after a loss. After wins, it's like a 2 beer. It's a lot easier to get through in the stomach.
It was another Sunday, $2 where I had yard work ahead, watching the kids, and it's like you're just in this shit mood. And it's like 10:45 in the morning Eastern time. It's the worst.
Which player wins Squid Games? And why is it Eric Dyer? It's not Eric Dyer.
It's not Eric Dyer.
No. It's Skip. It's always been Skip.
It's 100% Skip.
Or Tanganga.
No. Guy gets a red card like in his third match. Yeah. He's yeah. Loose cannon out there. Just what you want is what you want in Squid Games.
He doesn't get a red card, he gets shot.
They're playing red light, green light. He's just like sprinting forward and gets shot. Eric Dyer would not follow directions somehow or just have some sort of memory lapse.
He would slip on the red light, green light.
Yeah. Or he just daggers into his honeycomb and just breaks up the umbrella. It was like a circle too.
He just crunches it in his hands.
He had like the easy one. He had like the triangle. Yeah. And he'd still F it up somehow.
The Danish Viking, has he slipped? Not for me. It's just.
Sorry.
You think, yeah. So elaborate.
Yeah. No, I think I don't know if it is the Jose Mourinho style ball that maybe suited him better when Spurs were really sitting back and it just felt like he really knew where to go and how defensively sound he was in that type of like super assignment football. I thought with Denmark, he was good going forward, Bucks. It's just in the latter half of last year, as well as the start of this year, I mean, he's putting in the effort, but it just wasn't the same. And maybe it was just the polish ran off or not. But I feel like he I don't know. My expectations for what he was at the beginning of his tenure with Spurs have not been matched, like following through, in the latter. I don't know if he's like up to 50 matches or whatever he is with Spurs, but when you argue like the first 20 matches, he was a better player than the last 30. And I don't mean it like he's sucked, because he is undroppable right now. So I probably should have included him in that list when we talked about who's the must-start guys, just because you're not going to play Winks over him. You're not going to play, whoever else, Nile John. Like, I don't even know like where else we would go to in the center of the pitch. But I guess I kind of thought of him as a little bit more of a sturdy defender than he's been the last, 20 or so matches.
I think he's been solid defensively, and I think Alex makes a great point here. Jose asked him to do much more, cover more ground. With Skip, he's not doing so much, and Skip is doing so much of that heavy lifting on the back end.
Which maybe Højbjerg's got to learn then. All right, I got some cover, and I do need to like be better in the final third here. I mean, he did have that nice slotted goal against Villa. It does feel like, though, he's not Mr. Creative or anything like that out there. So maybe that will come, though. Maybe it'll be more like his role with Denmark, where he's asked to do a little bit more going forward, and he's just got to grow into that role. So maybe I
think that's what it is.
Could be that.
I think that's what it is, and I think Denmark. Change. I think Denmark actually has a more creative midfielder set than we do.
For sure, absolutely.
So he's not asked to be the creator.
Do you see Denmark in World Cup qualifying?
Yeah, they're unbelievable.
Yeah, they haven't lost, but they also, I don't think, have conceded a goal.
Nope.
It's crazy.
They just win. Yeah.
Yeah.
They win real solid here. I like this, though. This is in response to who wins Squid Games. Zach. Dyer wins in the first game, runs into the stands, and beats the bag out of everyone. That's 100% what happens. Oh, Lord. All right, let's hop into it. I mean, we have a few questions, but I think we hit the notes for quite a few of them. I like this one from Andy Bourne. I don't like it, but it's a good question. Has Dele actually played his last minutes with Spurs? I'm going to say no there. But if he does he stay? If he has, does he stay in the Prem or ship off to another league? I could see Dele being quite successful in like Spain.
The key with Dele getting him off the squad, if it's like to give him meaningful minutes to hopefully rekindle whatever it was that he had before that he had lost, I think it is a loan, and that loan won't happen in the Prem. You're not having Dele go against you in the Prem. I mean, maybe that's what he wants. But I mean, I would much rather loan him to a Spanish club or like a PSG. Like if he got loaned out to PSG in January, I'd be all for that, Bucks.
That might be a little rekindling of the fire there.
Could be. And here's the thing. This goes back to the selection of Nuno, the pragmatic defensive-minded coach that wants to play his center backs like way, way back, even though we have like the Ferrari that could sprint forward at any point in time in Romero. So we're basically neutralizing him by Nuno's tactics. Not that that pisses me off at all. But he wants to play Delhi in this 4-3-3, and that just doesn't work, period. And then also on top of that, we only half-ass press. We don't really press. And I think Delhi's just better suited for a manager that presses. Like if Delhi went and got loaned to like Ajax, who presses hard, like I think he'd be pretty successful. Do I think he'd become like Delhi circa 2017? I don't know. But I'm just saying he'd be a far more successful player in that type of tactic.
Yeah, I could see Delhi moving on. It's weird to me. He hasn't played in a league match in over a month now. That's concerning.
Yeah. I feel bad. He did what was asked for him. Hey, play the left
really
side
did.
of a 4-3-3. We're going to try to run this out, and then it just didn't work out.
Yeah, it's like he's going to get the run, and then he's back on the bench. Like this is like Twilight Zone for him. Deja vu.
He needs to be in the 4-2-3-1, either in the middle or on the left-hand side, pressing his ass off. That's what he needs to be doing. And we don't play that.
If he's on the left-hand side of that, then I don't see that working.
I mean,
because
not
what are
the
you
way
going to do
we
with
set
Son?
up.
Yeah, that's the problem. We got a lot of problems, but I think we can improve, and we're sixth in the table, Shakes. I'm going to keep that in mind.
Very true.
I don't think he's played
not
his
all
last
lost.
minutes.
Every trophy's in front of us. We haven't been bounced from the papajohns.com Europa Conference League yet.
It's true. We haven't been bounced.
In partnership with what beef jerky group? Lynx?
Yeah. Jack Lynx beef jerky, man. These are our sponsors, Shakes. We can't.
I'm sorry, Jack
names.
It's Manscaped all over again. Just botching their sponsorship opportunities.
Just squashing them one by one.
This shaves your balls? What? No. It was a great call. Great call with our friends at Manscaped.
Yeah. Who's our next manager? Graham Potter.
Graham Potter. Sell Kane, get Graham Potter, build through Son. Done. Top 4.
All right, this one's pretty heavy as always from our guy Graham at Big White Hart Lane. On paper, we have a lot of attacking talent and should have some creativity, which can conjure up some entertainment. I think entertainment's the number one thing here. And goals. Why is it not happening? Is it Nuno's ineptitude? The players can't be bothered. A general malaise or a combination of all or something else? Enlighten us, Shakes. I'm going to turn to you for this one. What is it? Why aren't we scoring goals? Why aren't we taking shots on net?
Well, how many times I got to keep talking about the manager, Bucks? It's the tactics, bro. And it's disjointed, and it feels like the players, for whatever reason, they've bought in, but at the same time, they haven't bought in like they bought in when Poch came in. And really, and even like when Jose came in at the very beginning, like when Spurs were winning, like whether at the beginning when he came in or the beginning of the season after the first full season for Jose, it just feels like they're not being pressed to dare to do, right? They're not being pressed to like take those risks where the game could be lost, but you're doing it to win the game. And I think that's a mindset of the manager. And you got these players that would be really good at pressing in like the Lo Celso, the Kane, the Delhi, the Ndombele, the Son, the Reggie. Romero is unbelievable at coming up and challenging for the ball around, middle of the pitch if you're really pushing the center backs up. And no one really plays like with that type of tenacity, and that's reflective of the manager. Otherwise, you're just saying like we're going to kick the ball around side to side and just hope Ndombele sets up Son is pretty much our offense right now.
You know what saddened me more than anything, and I actually agree with you here. I think it's Nuno's out of his britches right now. Like he's got shit in his britches. I know.
Yeah.
I can always identify that on
you can
any
see
man.
It. You can see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I'm tearing Nuno up, but I just
it's hard not to when you watch. So we took possession right off the opening kick. Obviously, it was given to us. So we have possession, and we spent 49 seconds kicking it around in our own half, and not just like close to midfield, way back. And then the minute he would even approach midfield, it went way back. Let's at least show teams that we're going up against that we give a shit and you're going to have to contest with us. We gave away our tactic right off the first kick. It's okay to drill for it in the first 2-3 minutes. If you're given possession off a kickoff, go for it and then settle back into your shape. But right away, we said, this is what we're doing. We're going to keep possession, all possession, because possession matters so much in modern football, Shakes. Newsflash, it doesn't. It does not. Possession doesn't tell you shit unless you look at heat maps and you realize where those players are coming into possession and where the ball doesn't escape from it. And that's our biggest issue. And that lies with Nuno. The players aren't out there thinking, I don't want to score. I don't want to score. No, they're thinking, this is my tactic. And you just put it out there immediately so the other team could say, I know exactly what they're going for here. That pissed me off more than anything. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, there's no possession with a plan, right? Just feels like you're kicking the ball around side to side. And I mean, shit, even with Jose, Spurs had a plan. I hated the plan. Everyone sit behind the ball and we're going to counterattack. And you just watch us park the bus. It just feels so disjointed, Bucks. I hate that word and I keep using it because there are these moments where it's like, all right, we're going to push our right back and left back up, which is nice. Get them more in the middle of the pitch. You know, don't have them sit way back. So it you know, you have those guys forward, but then we're going to push our midfielder up a little bit, but they're going to be covered. They're not going to really have access to the ball in Ndombele. And then really our center backs are going to be so far back from all of them that if there is some space at all, then the other team can come forward at you and you're not trying to press up. So I just hate it. I just hate the way it looks. And it feels like it's like we're half in, but we're half out. Like we're going to kind of press, but we're not. We're going to kind of move our fullbacks up, but really not give them the cover with the center backs. So I don't know. I don't know if it means you got to change a couple players up, like get Dyer out and put Dave in. So then you have Romero and Sanchez. So we have like the fastest center back duo.
Yeah, but also the most reckless duo of all time.
Who cares? Then if you're going to go up forward, they have no chance to like screw up because it's not like they're sitting, you know, in deep without possession. Their job's to like win the ball at like the halfway line. And if they don't, they recover because they're fast.
Tottenham has said the club is seeking a mental health and emotional well-being manager to lead and develop the mental health and well-being services club-wide. I got one name for you. It's Linda.
I've seen Linda's results. And it's a C+. I mean, like
yeah, on a good day. No, Scott says we need a Dr. Sharon Fieldstone in there. Yeah. That's from Ted Lasso, Shakes.
Yes. We are.
Have you not watched any of season 3 yet?
No, I've not.
Or season 2?
Season 2, you mean, right? Yeah, I'm halfway through. Well, I told you I wanted to do because by the way, the writers know football because in the FA Cup, Spurs lose to Lasso's what's the team name?
They're the Richmond Greyhounds.
The Greyhounds. And I wanted to do like a podcast where we just bitched about Jose or Nuno's tactics against the Greyhounds.
Yeah, I shut that down real quick.
Yeah, you shut that down, but let's be real. It would have been like any podcast we do. So maybe that's why you said that. It'd be redundant.
Basically,
fucking podcast.
Anytime somebody regurgitates the ideas that I should have come up with, I squash them.
We are in 6th. You're right, Bucks.
Yeah, we are, buddy.
And
we got Burnley tomorrow. Let's move on to Burnley tomorrow here. Yeah, another rainy night in Burnley.
Cold, rainy night, right?
Yeah.
We're almost in November.
I'm not
Carabao
doing an
Bank
11.
Energy Cup. I did.
I'm not doing an 11. Then give me your 11. Let me hear your bullshit shakes.
So first question though, Bucks, before I give it to you, do you think it's going to be a mix of players, or are we just going back to B squad?
I think it'll be a mix.
I think it's a mix too. I want to see Romero and Dave. On the left, I got Davis. On the right, I got Tanganga. Højbjerg will play, Skip will not. So it'll be Højbjerg and Winks. I got Lo Celso above them. And then I got Steve. I'm not going to play Son. I'm saving Son. I'm going to play Kane. It's more important to keep Kane. Isn't that ridiculous? And then I got Lucas.
I'm not going Lucas. I'm going.
Sorry, I got Dele. I apologize. I wrote down Dele and said Lucas.
Okay, I could see that. It's not a bad 11.
It's a 4-2-3-1.
Not good, but you have to think Burnley being on the cusp of relegation threat so early in the season, they have to be thinking towards the weekend and not so much the Carabao Bang Energy Cup. Niall is not in the lineup. I know, Zach. Okay. The Jonasons will have to wait on it. When the Jonasons happens, you know you heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks. I do have Spurs winning this match, though. 2-0.
2? How do we score 2 goals, Bucks? Own goal.
One's going to come from the Gilster. Gilster's going to ball. And then the other one is going to be a freak header that we did not expect to go in, and neither did Burnley's goalkeeper. I have no idea who scores it.
Dave heads it off like one of their players, and it goes in.
I hope
something like that.
2-0. I'm going to stay positive. We're 6th in the table, Shakes. Top 6 club.
Clearly. No doubt in my mind we're a top 6 club, Bucks. Why don't the players play better too, though? I feel like I've spent this entire podcast ripping on Nuno, so I feel bad about that because as a man, he seems very thoughtful and nice.
Yeah,
but don't you think we gotta get a little bit more out of these players too?
Have you never worked with people, Shakes, that they're great people? Like you'd love to have a beer with them. You'd love to have a dinner with them.
Sucking the life out of them?
No, I think that this team has had the core buildup, the core makeup of this team. It has shifted over the last 2 seasons, which is good. But this club is not built to win, man. We're just not built. We're not meant to win big matches right now. And that's going to be a long rebuild to get us there. But I have hope. Top 6 club, Shakes. Top 6.
I mean, a collection of better players lost to a better team in West Ham over the weekend, Bucks. And that's what's such a bummer. And I just feel like the managers is who's got to get them all fired up to get this figured out. Question is, too, like, who do you hire? Where do you go? You're not going to do anything. We send Conte a letter like, hey, bro, remember us? Although he's probably going to Man U right now.
I hope not. That scares me. I don't need that. But we could be getting them at the right time, Shakes.
Man U or Burnley?
Man U. Well, Burnley, it's always the right time for this season. Deitch he's hammering down pints on a different level than he ever has before. So
he's nervous.
I hope he's going to come in so beat red-faced. It's going to be awesome.
His nose is going to look like it's going to fall off. It's going to be so red.
It is.
I already see it.
All right,
Flush cheeks.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up here. Danny Shakes, thank you for your time, your patience. Great interaction today on the YouTube stream.
We were flying on the comments. Listeners.
Yeah. People, I mean, there's a lot to talk about right now, most of it not being good. So that always stirs up the critters in the middle of the night, you know?
That and Squid Games, apparently.
Yeah, Squid Game is it's a wild ride. Enjoy that, but make sure you watch it in the mornings on the weekend so that it will not penetrate your brain late at night.
Just like Spurs offense. Just like Spurs offense.
Well, the Spurs attack is a different Squid Game in and of itself. Funny part is Squid Game, the show, gets its likeness from the game that they play with a quote-unquote squid body. The Spurs attack is just Squid Game because it's all squids playing a game.
Dude, is that a term that's widely known, or is that our group of friends?
I don't know that I can't remember. I can't remember the first time that I started. I think I was the biggest proponent of squids.
Yeah,
like bunch
Behind
of
the curtain,
squids
our
out
group
there.
of friends, we always referred to people that were losers as squids.
Squids. And it's not just people that are losers. Like, you know, it's usually in reference to a sporting match, and you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, a bunch of squids.
Yeah,
Just
guys acting like
squid
a squid
kids.
out there.
Squid kid. And yeah, my fantasy football name for many years has been Bucky and the Squids. Because I don't win shit. But let's go ahead and wrap up, Shakes.
Bunch of squids.
For the third time today. We're a squid podcast talking about a bunch of squid kids out there. So let's just hope for the best. Let's beat Burnley tomorrow. Sign the people off, Danny.
Let's go. Let's beat Burnley. Let's get it together. Let's not be a bunch of squids. And come on, you Spurs.
COYS, get it done. Beat Sean Deitch into oblivion.